Hello, I am recording this video from a hotel near Toronto Pearson Airport. Here it is. I am in one of the government approved hotel rooms. So having crossed the border into Canada, I just arrived yesterday from Ukraine. So it is today's April 26th. 2021. I arrived across the border yesterday on April the 25th, and our country is in lockdown, and we are dealing with a lot of interesting measures that our government has introduced. More specifically, there are a lot of rumors going around about mandatory hotel quarantine after crossing the border by air. And I'm going to tell you my experiences, what actually happened to me and how this whole thing works. So this hotel mandatory 3-night hotel quarantine bothers a lot of people, including myself. The main reason being that the price is not inflated; it's super over hyper inflated. It's more than double price for the same room. So I recently had to leave Canada for a short time, for just over a week. My father passed away last summer, and I had to sign some paperwork so that my mom can do certain things in Ukraine without me being physically present there. And honestly, I didn't want to go. I haven't been back for 13 years, which is a whole different story. But this was the time where I really needed to go, when I really needed to go, even despite the whole pandemic. And of course, I'm afraid to get COVID. I had to go. So here are my experiences. I left on April the 15th and I came back on April the 25th. So before I left, I really didn't want to book a hotel room. So I honestly thought that I would just talk my way through it and I would show them the death certificate and whatnot, until the day of my departure. And then I started reading more into that, and it turned out that things are a lot tougher than I thought they would be. First of all, there are real police officers that issue those tickets. And I heard that you can just refuse to quarantine in the hotel, and that apparently the authorities don't have the power to, they can't force me to go into a hotel. That's what I thought. And I heard that the fine for refusing to do that is $800. Um, if you compare those $800 to the price for the hotel, which was supposed to be up to $2,000 for 3 nights, that sounds like a better deal, right? The lesser of the two evils. So on the day of my departure, I started reading about this in more detail, and it turns out that the fine is actually not $800, but $3,000. And I heard some people say before I left that you can just refuse to do that, and that even if you are issued that $3,000 fine, you just walk out of the airport and you forget about it. But there is no precedent, so there hasn't been a court ruling about that. So we can say whatever we want. We don't really know what's going to happen because no one has actually, I don't know a single person who has actually walked out of the airport without going to that hotel, to a hotel, and who was forgiven that ticket. So we're not sure what's going to happen, and I certainly didn't want to be the one to find out, especially, well, if the fine is $3,000. So long story short, I resisted booking that hotel room up until I left, until the day I left. And well, when I started reading about it, things didn't look as promising. So I actually researched all the hotel prices and I booked a hotel. Here you're seeing on my screen. Doubletree Hilton, Toronto Airport, 925 Dixon Road. The total price was $1,019.64. That is for 3 nights. Now you're seeing a screenshot that I took. The price for that same room is $159 a night, as opposed to $339 a night if you are quarantining. So my question right away is, well, what justifies that increase from 160 to 340? We're talking about $180 increase. That's additional $540. Now let's take a look at the cancellation policy. This is the email that came with my reservation. So if my results come early and I don't have to stay for 3 nights, it's not refundable. If I actually talk to a border official and they don't require me to quarantine in the hotel if I don't show up, non-refundable. If I reschedule my flight, it's non-refundable. If my flight gets canceled, non-refundable. What if the government bans flights from my country? I'm sorry, it's still non-refundable. That is quite interesting. That's a lot of power that was suddenly given to the hotel. So why would they do that? Why would the government give a hotel the power to take my money without providing any reasonable service at all? That is actually beyond my understanding. So that's pretty much guaranteed income. They can just collect my money. Okay, so coming back to my story, I arranged before I left, I arranged that I would be alone in my house for 14 days after my arrival. There would be no other people there at all. I will be completely on my own. Am I allowed to quarantine at home? Nope. I have to go to the hotel. Also, what is interesting is that the government considers that it's safe for a shuttle bus driver to drive me from the airport to the hotel, but not to my car that is parked next door. So they can drive me to the hotel that's safe, but they can't drive me to my car so that I can drive home and isolate at home. Well, again, that's beyond my understanding. So here is how the things worked out for me. Before I left Canada, so before April 15th, I did a PCR test for which I paid $180. It took them less than 24 hours to process the results, and I needed that to leave Canada and to enter Ukraine. I spent 10 days in Ukraine, and before leaving Ukraine, I did another PCR test. I paid about $65 for it, for the international one. Again, it took them less than 24 hours to process the test and deliver the results. I was traveling from Ukraine via Turkey, via Istanbul, and I was asked when I boarded the plane from Ukraine to Turkey, they asked me for 3 things: for the PCR test, they asked me for my hotel reservation, and they asked me for the receipt in Arrive Canada app. So when you fill out that app, they ask you, do you have a hotel reservation? Yes. Do you have a place to quarantine for the remainder of the 2 weeks? Yes. And when you fill out all those fields, they give you it's not a barcode, it's like a code. And you show that to the people at the airport, and then they let you board the plane. So when I arrived into Canada, I was asked for the same information. So I guess the question here is, what if I didn't have the hotel reservation? I probably wouldn't have gotten that code in Arrive Canada app, and I don't know what would happen then. Maybe they wouldn't put me on a plane. I have no idea. So when I arrived in Canada, I was asked the same thing several times by different people, by a passport control officer, then by a police officer, who clearly just wanted to ask me questions to make sure that my story is intact. Probably they wanted to make sure that I just didn't go on vacation. So I did find those questions quite a bit weird, but well, they're just doing their job, right? So at Pearson Airport, I found that everything was very, very much streamlined. There was always just one way to go. There were always police officers everywhere at every step of the process. There were lots of reminders of scan the code, install the app, create a Switch Health account, and we'll talk more about Switch Health a little bit later. So I did find that good. There was no line up to do a COVID test. They did it very quickly. And they directed me to a shuttle bus stop where I was picked up by shuttle and brought to my hotel. So I was in my hotel an hour and 15 minutes after my plane arrived. That included me getting my bags, passing through the customs, through the border, passport control, doing the COVID test and everything else. So as I was checking in, I asked the receptionist what would happen to my room if I have to leave early. And she said that the hotel would not resell my room, that they would keep it empty for all the days for which I paid, which I guess is kind of nice, but what do I care? If I need to check out early, if my results come early, I don't care what happens to the room. Why don't I get my money back? So that doesn't make much sense, right? I don't need the room to be empty after I leave. So regardless, I was told that there would be 3 meals delivered to my room every day. So lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that I would get two 15-minute slots per day to go outside. I'm not sure if they're just walks or if I'm just allowed to go outside and stand there. I don't know. I was supposed to call in and a security person would escort me downstairs. I have no idea if they would be standing there and watching me, or I don't know. I didn't do that. So I can't tell you if I'm actually allowed to walk around the hotel or if I'm just supposed to be standing there. So I don't know. So when I got to my hotel room, and here you're seeing a video of the hotel room. It's just a normal, nice room. That's kind of what I would have expected for $160. Certainly not for $340 per night. But regardless, when I got to my hotel room, I needed to scan a code and fill out a web page form to let the government know that I checked into my hotel. And the following morning, I had to log in into the Arrive Canada app and report my symptoms to the government through the app. And finally, I was given a take-home COVID test kit. So here we go. I'm supposed to do this test on day 8 of after my arrival. So far everything looked very interconnected, very streamlined. There was no confusion. So that was good. I think this part was good. Here are the pictures of the meals that were delivered to me. So this is breakfast. Here you see this is my lunch, and this is dinner. So there's nothing fancy. There's also nothing healthy. So if you are on any healthy meal plan, forget it. Coming back to that more than double price for the hotel room. So as I was checking into the hotel and going to my room, I saw nothing that would justify that price increase. So I only saw 2 people. There was a receptionist and there was a security slash bellboy person. And guests are not allowed to leave their rooms. So most areas of the hotel are not used anyways. I was also warned that there would be no room service during my stay. So it's not that I need my room to be cleaned every day. I'm just trying to think what would justify the $180 per night increase of the price. And honestly, I can't. So let's just do some basic math. If we just assume that each meal that I got is $20, which is not, but let's just keep things simple. So let's just say that including taxes, including delivery and a tip to the delivery person, each meal is worth $20. That would make it $60 per day. We're still a long way from the $180 extra that I'm charged for a night. But let's not stop here. Let's keep going. So here's the main thing. And this is what puzzled me. This is what I find most interesting. I don't have a choice over which company is going to do the 2 COVID tests for me. The government has made the decision for me. So that means that the government is directing all of these people, everybody who arrives in Toronto Pearson. I don't know about the other airports, but here, everyone who arrives in Toronto is going to be a customer of Switch Health. And Switch Health is going to do 2 tests for them. I kind of understand the reasoning. Obviously, the government wants to make sure that the test is reliable, that the test is legit, that it's not, the results are not tampered with, they're real results. But at the same time, giving all that business to one company, that's a lot of new customers for Switch Health. And as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, Switch Health is a startup. So someone just created a lot of business for this one company, and it's a lot of business in a very, very short time. So it's guaranteed income. I'm not making any accusations, and these are just my observations, but someone is making a lot of money with the government's help. Um, my next thought is that if the government is always dealing with the same company, they have a working relationship with Switch Health, right? They're dealing with the same people. They know what to expect. So shouldn't there be some kind of an obligation placed on Switch Health to deliver the results in a certain time? But let's take a look at what Switch Health has to say. Here you're seeing my screenshot with an email that I received. Is the official test confirmation email that I got from Switch Health after doing their test. And here it says, black and white, that the results are typically provided the same day or the next day. My results came in 17 hours. So now I am officially allowed even to take a bus home if I wanted to. And of course, I'm not going to be refunded for those 2 additional nights. I'm not going to get my money back. So if Switch Health officially says that normally they have the results ready in 24 hours, why on earth was I forced to pay for 3 nights at more than double price? Something is not right. Something is definitely not right here. So if we keep calculating, we kind of get to that same price increase that I overpaid. If we calculate 3 meals a day, $20 per meal, so that would give us $180 over 3 days. And I will have 2 COVID tests done. So I said in the beginning of the video that I also paid $180 to do a COVID test to leave the country. So 180 for the meals, 180 for each of the 2 tests. We get to those $540 that I paid extra for the hotel price, because I wasn't charged for the COVID tests, but they're not free. Somebody paid for them, right? And I didn't pay the government for them. I paid the hotel. So will the hotel now transfer part of that fee, of that increased surplus, to the government to cover the test fees? I don't know. But if that is what is happening, I think I have a right to know. I am paying for that. And actually, I would have less of a problem with this whole system if I would be told that this is where my money is going, that that's what they're doing with the surplus. So these are my thoughts and my personal experiences, and I hope that this sheds some light and probably helps kind of reveal what happens in real life. Yeah, thanks for listening.